Hi, welcome to Comptroller's Corner. I'm your host, Pat Curry, joined as always by Buffalo Comptroller Mark Schroeder. Our top story today, the Comptroller is launching Open Book Buffalo, a new feature on his website that will show the citizens of Buffalo the city's finances in a more accessible and transparent way. Now, Mark, your view is it's the taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
They deserve to know how it's being spent. Now, this is an exciting new feature on your website. It's a tool that allows them to see the big picture right down to the smallest details, to show them not only how much money is being spent, but on what and with whom. And this will be a very exciting way for citizens to know just where their tax dollars is going and for what.
Yeah, this is very exciting, not only for the taxpayers of Buffalo, but it's an important feature that Audit and Control, the Comptroller's Office, is able to launch. And it's important to note, I am so very proud of all of the people that work in the Comptroller's Office, and because of their skill, their experience, we're able to launch this to the citizens of Buffalo, Patrick. And I'll tell you something, I am really excited about this from a personal standpoint. As you know, I've been elected in the Erie County Legislature for 3 years and the New York State Assembly for 7 years. This has been something that's been on my mind since the blue and red budget of the Erie County Legislature days. This has been something on my mind since the reign of Sheldon Silver in the New York State Assembly, that the people really need to have some sort of hope that there's transparency, and that if there are certain things on their mind, they don't have to go through the government and these elected officials to foil or to request information that they'll never get. So this is our chance. This is our chance in the Comptroller's Office to give the people what they deserve, transparency. And they will be able to see many different things within our website. And I'm very excited about launching this over the next couple of weeks.
Now, you mentioned FOIL. That stands for Freedom of Information Law, and that requires that any public document is accessible to any citizen who requests it. Now, the FOIL process is a very lengthy and arduous process. It has to have formal requests sent to the appropriate people, and then the government has certain stipulations that they require, and there's certain reasons why they can deny a request or hold it up, or a lot of times it's just not fulfilled.
Yeah.
But this puts everything that could be foiled at the click of a mouse in the citizen's hands.
Bingo. That's exactly right, Patrick, because I will tell you, it's not because the New York State Legislature didn't try to pass legislation, they did, that there is a lead time of the FOIL. So if you foil the government, there is a law that says you have to reply to the person who's foiling the government within a certain amount of time. I can guarantee you it never happens. It never happens in a timely fashion. Nobody's watching it. Nobody's looking at it. So you're right. It's instant. When a citizen wants to know something about the finances, especially in terms of the city of Buffalo and where their money's going, they're going to be able to click on automatically and find it. And then if there's a nuance or something that we haven't thought of, because this is the beginning process, they will be able to talk to somebody within our staff, and we will be able to guide them or let them know where that is, in terms of what they're looking for.
And not only does it show the big picture as finances, but you can also see how much we're spending on payroll and which employees get paid how much for which job, and also vendors, how much the city spends on private vendors. You can search who the biggest vendor is that gets the most money from the city, or the smallest, and what we're spending that money on. And that just shows the public where their money's going and for what, and it gives them a better picture of where their tax dollars are going at the end of the day and who's benefiting from them.
Well, the other thing too, I think, is important, that the Comptroller's Office we're the ones who initiated this. I know that there are other departments within City Hall who are very aware that we're doing this, and they also feel that they probably should be doing the same thing, but they never really had to. Now they have to at least think about it because we are doing it and the people of Buffalo deserve it. And everything within the city of Buffalo, anything having to do with taxpayers' money, they ought to be able to know instantly where that money's going. And we've launched it, and it's just going to get better from here.
Now, you mentioned former Speaker Sheldon Silver, who was recently convicted of corruption and fraud by the court system. So one of the things in his trial that came to light was that the process for distributing certain grants were kept very secret. In fact, one of Victor Franco, one of the people that testified, said he purposely hid information on grants that the speaker was giving out. And for part of the thing that's trying to combat with this Open Book Buffalo, you're trying to combat the darkness, the secrets. Because what we found is when there's something secret or something inaccessible or something that's done in the dark, it's often not done with the taxpayer's best interest in mind. And when you shine a light on everything, it's almost a preventative measure, preventing certain things that might not be right and might not be in the taxpayer's best interest from happening by shining that light on it and making it accessible to the public and the media and everyone out there.
No question about it. And what I'm really excited about is that I understand the challenges of being the pioneer, initiating something like this. Because the citizens or different organizations that are doing good work across the city, they may be looking for certain information. I think we've captured it, but we are very open. We're going to be very, very open to anything that maybe we may have missed, maybe something that ought to be on the Open Book Buffalo. So this is going to be the beginning of a journey of getting information to people. They deserve it. They are paying for the government. They are paying for services. They ought to know, if they want to know, the information that is at hand through this transparency website.
Now, transparency has been one of the most important tenets of your administration in the past 3.5, almost 4 years. One of the things that you've also done is to make the finances more accessible and transparent to the public is to do the popular annual financial report. So it's been very important to your role as comptroller to have the most transparent government as possible. And that was actually captured in the mission statement. Your department recently put into place a new mission statement. Now, you had the help of Gary McGooey from Franklin Covey, who's a professional who donated his time and his services to the Department of Audit Control to craft a new mission statement. And this was done, not from the top down, or by Gary or by you. This was done grassroots from your employees. There was a mission statement writing team, and the team would represent from every different division in your department. There's the audit division, the accounting division, and the investment and debt management division. There's representatives on the writing team from every member. The writing team came up with the first draft, shared it with their respective divisions, got their feedback, incorporated their feedback into a new draft, and they're pretty comfortable with this new mission statement draft. And I can read it, and we have a graphic for the folks at home. But the Department of Audit and Control will protect, report, and strengthen the city's finances to help ensure an efficient, effective, and transparent government that will better serve the taxpayers and citizens of Buffalo. Now, this is a very important mission statement, and part of the thing you're trying to do now is, now that you have it, is to have your employees live this and look to it every day for inspiration in what they're doing.
Well, the one way that they live it is because they created it. And so that's the key. So if I had to name just one highlight of my first 4 years as comptroller, I would say this is it. For the reason that every single employee, all 45 employees, no matter what their title is, no matter where they sit or what they do in audit and control, they had an opportunity to give input. They had an opportunity to suggest what it is that they do for the citizens of Buffalo. And for us to come up with a mission statement where every single employee agrees on it, is really something that's unbelievable. Because, Patrick, as you know, I come from the private sector. This is something that's common. This is done all the time. There's been an elected comptroller since 1848, and I can assure you there has never been a mission statement that has come from the rank and file workers within audit and control, and that is what I'm most proud of. And as you know, coming next will be our vision statement, which the employees, the very employees who created our mission statement, will create the vision for audit and control going forward in 2016. And then there's an acronym that we use, WIG, Wildly Important Goal. All of us will create the number one thing that we're really working on in 2016 that is going to benefit the citizens of Buffalo. And because we're in this situation right now, because of the staff that I have and because of the employees who have bought into this, we are looking forward to a very bright future and to a very effective 2016.
Now, your employees have really bought into this process, and not only the mission statement, but the vision statement and wildly important goals. And you've had several sessions with Gary Magui in your conference room, and they were attended by all the employees in your department. They really have a stake in this, and they're really pleased with where it's going.
Yeah, you know, this when I was in the private sector in the 1980s, there was Dr. Stephen Covey, and he wrote the book that sold 18 million copies, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And so I've been trying to figure out over the years, how can we implement some of this, you know, within our municipality, within Buffalo, and do it in a way that the employees are really interested in it. And so I think we figured it out this year, and that's what I'm so excited about. And then what's going to even be better than creating this is implementing it, of which they're doing already, but now they know, they have a sense of what it is that we're doing. All of us know where we're going, and that is something that I know is important to the citizens and to the viewers who are watching us today, Patrick.
Well, Mark, we got to take a brief break. When we get back, I want to discuss the city's comprehensive annual financial report.
Great.
Stay tuned for more Controller's Corner after this message.
Are you unemployed, underemployed, or do you need to improve your job skills? Then the Buffalo Employment and Training Center is here for you. The Buffalo Employment and Training Center is your one-stop employment shop. Whether you need help with your search, access to information, seminars, or training, our expert and caring staff is here for you. And the best part is, all of our services are free. The Buffalo Employment and Training Center is conveniently located at 77 Goodell Street in downtown Buffalo with plenty of free parking. For more information, call 856-JOBS or visit us on the web at www.workforcebuffalo.org.
Hi, welcome back to Controller's Corner. The Comptroller has issued the City of Buffalo's comprehensive annual financial report. Now, this is an extensive document that gives the total detail of how the city is spending their money. Now, Mark, this Kafir, as it's known, is the 183rd in the city's history.
Yeah.
Now, since you've been in office, you've been issuing it earlier and earlier and earlier each year. And this year, you're pleased to announce that it was issued on November 20th. Now, that's the earliest it's ever been issued in recent history.
Yes.
And that's thanks to the hard work of your team in the Department of Audit and Control.
Yeah, no question about it. So as you mentioned earlier in this show, we have three distinct divisions. One is audit, the other is debt management, and then we have accounting. And then we have a city accountant. His name is Bill Ferguson. He's a certified public accountant, and he has been with us since the beginning of my term, which is 4 years now. And so we have consistency within our divisions, and in particular in accounting. And we were also able to give Bill some of the tools that he's requested over the years. One is a software called Caseware. and it's a system that can help us so that we can expedite this. We also have some outside expertise, a CPA firm that comes in under an RFP process, and so these are things that are very, very important. And so, as you pointed out earlier, the Kafir, which is required, it is required. We have to do this. And if the citizens were to look at it closely, they would see it's about 159 pages of numbers. And one of the things you alluded to earlier, Patrick, is the PAFR, the Popular Annual Financial Report. And that is like the Cliff Notes. That is like the summary. That is a narrative. And so the citizens of Buffalo will be able to read 4 or 5 pages, and within that information notebook, there's also the information of revenues and expenditures. So we feel very, very comfortable, and as you know, this is award-winning. Every year we do this, we win an award from the GFOA.
That stands for the Government Financiers Officers Association, which is the governing body for all municipal finance officers.
And over the last 2 years, when we have initiated the PAFR, we also have won awards, award-winning, from the GFOA. So I am extremely proud of these products, but more importantly, I'm proud of the people who have generated these informational sources that are very important to government and to the citizens of Buffalo.
Now this Kafir is available on your website, and the PAFRs from previous years are available, and there'll be a new PAFR coming out very shortly. But as far as the news coming out of this comprehensive annual financial report, it has good news this year because of certain contracts that have been settled with collective bargaining units, in particular the police union. That led to a $5 million surplus at the end of fiscal year 2015, which ended on June 30th of this year. So it's a very encouraging picture for the city of Buffalo that some of the money that they put away for these bargaining units for these contracts was enough to cover these, and it was enough to give us a little bit of a surplus moving forward.
Yeah.
So the fund balance wasn't needed.
Exactly, and so this is like this report, the Kafir. It's like the final report of the fiscal year that ended approximately 6 months ago. And so it's a tool, Patrick. It's a tool that I will use over the next couple of days. We're going to get to it in a few minutes when a rating agency comes to visit us. It's a tool that I will use next week when I and some others from my office go to visit the Buffalo News editorial board so that we can explain clearly the city of Buffalo's finances. So these are tools that we can use, and we do use, to inform the public of what's happening with Buffalo and our finances.
And it's a very detailed report going into each account with the city and how much is in it, and also some of the enterprise accounts. And one of the things it also shows is some of those sweeps that you continue to criticize are still occurring, and you hope the next time they can fix this problem so the city's not robbing Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing is, it all has to do with will. And if the mayor has the will, and if the council has the will to change things, which aren't easy, if they can, then there will be no more sweeps or certain things that kind of compromise the finances, and that I have to speak of when we're talking with the rating agencies or with different authorities who are looking at Buffalo's numbers. Because as you know, over the last 3 years, we've earned upgrades with the rating agencies. And that, as you also know, for 10 years, Buffalo was under a control period, a hard control board, where people not elected by the city of Buffalo citizens were making decisions. Now, the ones who are elected, the Comptroller, the Buffalo Common Council, the mayor, we're making decisions. And when we make decisions, we have to have discipline. And these tools will help have elected officials use discipline.
Now, Mark, you said you're going to be showing the results of this report two rating agencies. One of them that you'll be showing it to is Moodys. They're actually visiting Buffalo next week, and you're hosting them in your office. And you're going to be showing them, what's going on with the city financially, but also economically. And you have also given Moodys and the other two rating agencies a tour of Buffalo in the past.
Yep.
And Moodys has actually upgraded Buffalo in recent years. And you're pushing for, if not this year, maybe in the next few years, with the new finances and with the new economic development, that you're hoping for maybe the city can get an upgrade, in a few years from now.
Yeah, I'm going to make a case. I'm going to make a strong case. But you're right, Patrick. So when I first became the controller 4 years ago, I went to see them on Wall Street. I went to see Moodys. And then about a year and a half ago or so, we invited the Moodys analysts to come to Buffalo because of our growth, because of the economic development growth in our city. And I thought it was important for them not only to see the ledger sheet, the numbers, which they see, but for them to see what's happening here in Buffalo. And so there has been a change at Moodys. One of the analysts who have been working with the Buffalo municipality over the last 4 years that I've been the controller, he's been promoted to a higher position within Moodys. So there's a new analyst team that's coming into Buffalo next week to visit with us. And so what we're going to be able to do is give them some information in terms of what we've been doing over the last 4 years, but more importantly, where we're headed. This is the reason why tools like the Kafir, tools like the PAFR, the transparency website. This is information that Moodys at any time, just like a citizen, can click on and really take a look at what's happening within the city of Buffalo. And they don't have to rely on just what I'm saying or what staff is saying. They can really find out for themselves. And that is most important and something that I'm very excited about and that I will be talking to Moodys about.
So Moodys, along with the other two major rating agencies, Standard & Poor's and Fitch, give the Buffalo a grade, basically, our credit rating.
Right.
It's A1 with Moodys and Standard & Poor, and A+ with Fitch. And basically, like a citizen has a credit rating with a credit agency.
Right.
This is the city's grade. And when we go to the bond market, that grade sets up what our interest rates and how much we'll be paying for the debt service on our capital bonds.
Yep.
So Moodys, Standard & Poor's, and Fitch have all said to the city, great job in reducing your debt burden, but it's still too high.
Right.
Your debt burden is still too high across the board. All three rating agencies have said that. They said, well, it's too high, but thanks to the Comptroller's policy of retiring more debt than is issued each year, it's expected to moderate. So with that, the noting that these outside agencies are saying that our debt burden is too high, you found that the mayor's capital plan was, in your words, disappointing and irresponsible because of the amount of debt that it would incur.
Right.
It's requesting that 34 million plus, with the parking could be up to 40 million in capital borrowing authorizations.
Right.
But some of those don't count against the cap, but that you said is 17 million. But the ones that do count against the cap are up to about 30 million, which is 13 million more than you've recommended. And your office is the one in charge of actually issuing the debt.
Right.
So you're going to be watching to make sure, first off, that that the council passes a more responsible plan than was submitted to them, and that ultimately you're going to be the one issuing the debt, and you're going to only issue debt for what you feel the city should be.
No question about it. And we've been consistent over the last 4 years, and I've been very clear to the mayor, to his staff, and to the Common Council. The great thing about this, Patrick, is that I have the golden pen. And that is, on something like this, the power of which a controller usually doesn't have within the municipality, because the administration and the council are the ones who pass laws and resolutions. But a controller, in this particular case, because of the charter, I do have the authority in terms of how we go to the market and how much we go for. And so I like to be clear to them, but at the end of the day, I have a responsibility to the citizens of Buffalo, and I will do the right thing, regardless if they're on the same page or not.
So one of the things you're going to be checking is if before the city even goes to borrow funds, is the project ready to go? And also, how much of authorized debt is out there? Because if there's too much authorized debt out there, you're not going to be willing to go to the marketplace to incur more debt if you feel that the city's debt burden is too high.
Yeah, and I think the administration, I think the mayor in particular, and I think the common council, I think they understand is that we have a responsibility, and that Patrick also. When you talked about Moodys, Standard & Poor's, Fitch, they have what is called a scorecard. And so I know exactly what they're looking at. I know what the percentages are. I know that in terms of tax and finances, it's 30%. I know there's another increment, 30%, another 30%, and a 10%. And so at the end of the day, it's important for us, just like during the week before a Buffalo Bills game, the coaches are there looking at the film. Well, I'm looking at the scorecards from the rating agencies. I want to know what's important to them so that I can use my voice to let the citizens of Buffalo know why it's important, and then I have to convince the administration and the Common Council this is what we have to do, because we have the responsibility of trying to get higher scores from the rating agencies so we can borrow better on behalf of the citizens of Buffalo. Real simple.
Speaking of bonds, you were recently in New York City and you met with a publication called The Bond Buyer, and you did a podcast with The Bond Buyer on the city of Buffalo and its finances.
Yeah, so I'm telling you something, this is really funny. You know how I am, I prep, and I want to make sure that I know I try to anticipate what the questions are going to be. So, I'm sitting with a Bond Buyer reporter, and we're doing this podcast audio, 18 minutes, and he says to me, I want to talk about this and talk about that. And so I'm thinking all he really wants to talk about are the numbers and our rating agencies, bond ratings, and the budgets and all of that stuff. So he says to me, you were a member of the New York State Assembly, weren't you? I said, yes, I was. He goes, and you were a Democrat, same party as the Speaker Sheldon Silver, weren't you? I said, yes. And he goes, you didn't vote for the Speaker one time, right? I said, twice. I didn't vote for the Speaker twice. So that was it. So I think the 18-minute podcast, Patrick, is about 8 minutes on what has happened. And the victims here are the citizens of New York State. And when you read the 7 counts against the Speaker, 3 of which have to do with real estate fraud, 3 have to do with asbestos scheme, which real people who are sick from asbestos thought they were going to get representation, got none. And then the 7th guilty count against the Speaker was money laundering. Great. So the people of the state of New York have just about had it. What's happening in Albany, and I think I'm just hopeful that the leadership in the legislature is going to begin to turn this around.
Well, Mark, that's all the time we have for this week's Comptroller's Corner. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Patrick.
And thanks at home for joining us. Make sure to check out the Comptroller's website at www.cityofbuffalo.com/Comptroller. Also our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, and our Twitter handle. Thanks again for joining us on Comptroller's Corner. On behalf of Mark Schroeder, this is Pat Curry, signing off.